So, welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Don Damsi. And in this video, we are going to be talking about experiencing growth in life, how to experience growth in life. A lot of people they go about life and they seem not to experience growth in life. They are stagnant. They just feel their life is not moving as expected or as they should. And everybody, be it human beings, be it organizations, everybody wants to experience growth. Every aspect of their life, they all want to experience growth. So growth is something that even God wants us to experience, because God said in the Bible in Genesis chapter 1, it says, be fruitful and multiply. So everything God created, he expects it to multiply. So growth is something we are to experience. So if you see your life being stagnant in one area or the other, then that means there is something wrong. God wants you to grow. God wants you to experience multiplication. And you yourself, as a human being, you want to experience multiplication. Now, let me know, people always say we're in the African culture, and some of the reasons why you are not experiencing growth might be spiritual forces. But we are not going to be talking about spiritual forces. I'm not an ordained pastor, so I don't really know much about that. But I'm going to be talking about strategic ways that you can experience growth in life, because I've come to realize that growth sometimes is as a result of intentionality. Not even sometimes, most of the times is as a result of intentionality. For example, a child that was born today, if you leave that child without food, without water, without shelter, that child is not going to grow. What you experience is that child is going to die. So because of the intentionality of giving that child food, intentionality of giving that child water, that child will experience growth and will end up being a tall person. The person you might see a giant. The giant, maybe at the age of 30, at the age of 40, that small child now has grown to become a huge giant. And you say, how did it become? It's because of food, because of the right environment. So what are the tips to experiencing growth? What are some of the tips to experiencing growth? And I've stated it in my introduction. First and foremost, you must be intentional about your life. A lot of people are complacent about their life. A lot of people are not intentional about their life. You must be intentional about wanting to experience growth. And what do I mean by intentionality? You must take life with the urgency it deserves. And you must say to yourself, look, I want to experience growth. It might not even be about your life in general. It might be in a particular area that you want to experience growth. For example, I was talking to a kind of chubby person. And he said he wants to slim down, he wants to become slimmer. And I told him, I said, you must be intentional about going to the gym. You must be intentional about doing exercise. So these things sound so simple, but they are things that people actually need in their life. They need to be hearing it often. If you don't go to the gym as a person that is chubby, as a big-sized person, you will not slim down. That is as simple as that. If you don't put in the work, you will not. If you want to experience growth in a particular area of your life, you must be intentional about wanting to experience growth. Which leads me to my second point. You must be determined. Determination also, you must also be determined that, look, I want to experience growth. I'm intentional about experiencing growth in this aspect. I want to be determined. For example, let me take it to my spiritual journey. There was a moment in my life I felt like I was complacent with God. And I had to tell myself, look, I want to experience growth in my spiritual journey or spiritual life with God. And what I did was to plan a schedule. 5 a.m. I wake up, 2 p.m. 5 a.m. I wake up, I pray, I study, I meditate. 2 p.m. I do the same thing. 9 p.m. I do the same thing. Now, I did that for a couple of days. And before you know it, I began to experience growth in my spiritual life. So it doesn't come by rocket science. It doesn't come by by a flash of light. Growth comes with intentionality and determination. If you want to see growth in your career, you have to be intentional about it and you have to be determined about it. Now, my third point is you must be willing to learn. You must be willing to learn. Sometimes growth comes by learning. And that's why you see a lot of people, they pay a lot of money for them to learn. I'm an avid reader of biographies. I love reading biographies because by reading biographies, I learn a lot. So, but you see a lot of people, they are not willing to learn. And how you will know someone that is not willing to learn is when they are not able to pay to learn. Let me tell you, anything you are willing to pay for to learn, either through your money, your sacrifices, or anything, that knowledge will definitely come. So if you want to experience growth, let's say, for example, you want your business to go further, or you want your business to do much more than is doing now, you need to learn. You might not necessarily learn from books. I mean, there's what we call in the Igbo land, this apprenticeship system that the Igbos do. Someone will be under them for like 8-10 years. I'm not really sure about that. After he has learned, he will now be given a huge sum of money to go and start his own business. So it is from learning that he begins to go in business. So you must be willing to learn. Seek mentorship, seek role models, because those role models and these mentors, they are the ones that will be able to guide you and make you grow. They will teach you, so you don't need to make the mistakes that they've made. So you must actually seek to learn, and it's by you learning that you'll be able to experience growth. Now let me go to the fourth one: consistency and strategy. You know, for me, for one thing I know that I am also working on is the ability to be consistent. Consistency in delivering, consistency in performing. You know, a lot of people, they are not consistent, and sometimes what you actually need is just consistency. For example, if you're a social media creator, a content creator, or anything like that, you know you definitely need consistency in order for growth to happen. You know, you cannot feed a child once every week and think that child will grow well. It's not going to happen. So you need consistency. That's why you are advised to eat every day sometimes for you to experience growth. You are advised to eat a particular meal for you to experience growth. If a doctor is treating you, the doctor will tell you, oh, take 2 tablets each day. It's not, because that consistency is what will actually bring about that growth. But a lot of people are not consistent, and that is what makes them to fall flat in life. So you need consistency. You need dogged consistency to experience growth in life, you know, and this consistency is going to yield a lot of results. Now let me go to my last point before I wrap it up. Now my last point is this. I know I'm just speaking generally now to all of you, so that you just take these general points, because everybody's own measurement of growth or need for growth might be different. Now my last point is, you need the right strategy as well. You need the right strategy. There was someone that met me and said, I've been consistent in this area of my life, but I'm not seeing growth. And I said, probably you've been consistent, but you've been consistently using the wrong strategy. So there is the right strategy to doing things. In business, there's what we call right strategy. There are some people, business managers, that will tell you that they've been consistently doing stuff for a while, but as soon as they change strategy, rather than just being consistent, they used the right strategy and channeled the right strategy to getting good results. So probably what you lack and that might be stumbling your growth in life, in business, or in any other aspect of your life might be the wrong strategy. Now, in wrapping this video up, let me say this, and I always say it anytime: pray for God's grace, because at the end of the day, we're all living on God's green earth. We're all living in God's green earth, as some other people would like to put it. You have to pray for the grace of God to be upon you to experience growth. Some people, like I said at the beginning of this video, some people's battles might actually be spiritual. Maybe that's why they are not experiencing growth. So you need to pray to God to help you that, look, let me overcome this challenge. Let me be able to conquer this challenge. Let me be able to surmount and go as I want to. You know, there are some battles that I won't take away the fact that there are some battles, or there are some things that are beyond just the natural. So you have to actually pray for God to help you, because even if you do all these things and you still are not experiencing growth, then you will know that your own battle or your own problem is spiritual problem. So pray to God to assist you, pray to God to lead you, and it will definitely come true for you. Real Talk with Don Damsi. It's been fun being with you once again. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in my next video. Peace out.